Greetings, Dr. Joseph Martin here, with you and for you. Our topic for discussion today is emerging wave for new personal global freedoms. That is a movement of greater consciousness worldwide for people to claim and gain their sense of personal freedoms. This is a human rights issue, but it's a lot more than that, in fact. Most people have increasingly over the last 2 centuries felt a sense of meaninglessness, purposelessness, a nullification of their own value as a human being, as if they are worthless. And this is shown through the way that people are indiscriminately killed and murdered in small situations, one-on-one, or just in global terms of ethnic cleansing. It almost suggests that there's no value to a human life or existence. And this is pervading our unconscious psyche and our conscious psyche as individuals. And it's something, whether we talk about it with our friends or not, it's hard pervasive. It's if like we're worthless. We could be killed at any time for no good reason at all, not even for our money, just because. This sense of nullification cannot last. People will not stand their nullification forever. That's a quote from Dr. Carl Jung, the great psychiatrist, psychologist. When we start to sense that people are making us meaningless by downsizing us or treating us like dirt or crap, or when we start to feel that about ourselves, we need to take some positive reflection and action towards something that's much better, to value every human life, not just human life in general, but every single human life needs to be valued, and then moving that forward to expand into all our relations that the Great Spirit has put us here for the benefit and joy and beauty for all of us to enjoy. We can and need to move from nullification to liberation, from meaninglessness to mercy, from lies to love, from deceit to deliverance, and from revenge to righteousness. I think Nelson Mandela, in his life itself, just that is the witness to what can be done when you move from the need to have revenge over your captors and torturers to just loving and respecting them. And he did live the life of Jesus, I'm sure. Now, some people might feel internally, through this internalized kind of worthlessness, and I think most of us have that. This is the key to the I Am Self-Worth online self-help training coaching program. That internalized worthlessness is something that people out in society would have us believe. Politicians and economists and those who head some of the corporations, some of them would have us believe that resistance is futile. It's not just the members of the Borg on Star Trek, New Generation, who would have us believe that resistance is futile. People in charge of power-tripping organizations, whether they be military or political or national or any other societies that work within those nation states, might want us to believe that resistance is futile when we've seen the cutting down of elected leaders in the third world in Central America, Guatemala, Chile, Ecuador, Argentina, and so on, as well as many other countries where we've had elected leaders killed, assassinated, and taken from rule in the Arab world and other worlds as well. We might sense out of fear, out of ego and anxiety, and through propaganda that wants us to stay in fear, that resistance is futile. Don't you believe it? The good news is resistance is righteousness. And resistance is your responsibility and my responsibility. Resistance in a non-violent, respectful way is important, necessary for all of us. It's part of it, how we will gain a sense of worthiness and a life worth living, and bring our own skill sets to the unique role that we can play in this world to add to the righteousness. So, resistance is respectful righteousness, and it is our responsibility. Having said all that, you will want to spend a lot of time looking inside yourself. And I'm appealing and hopefully inspiring to all those who've been sitting on the sidelines, as I have many times in my life, about many different issues that come up, uh, whether it's human rights or native indigenous rights or the rights to keeping our natural resources like water, timber, mining, and gold, silver, and diamonds, and so on, or whatever the rights may be, often around uh, human rights, obviously. Many times, because we're busy, we're stressed, we're having to pay for our mortgage or our rent or our food, we think, oh, yes, another day I will take some look into these matters. I think it's reached a critical tipping point in the individual consciousness of yourself and myself, and also the critical tipping point of all society globally, so that we can awaken to some higher consciousness here. And isn't a global emerging wave, so I'm suggesting catch a wave, catch the fire, occupy love, occupy respectful resistance and righteousness as a way to redeem all the feelings of guilt you might have been feeling about not responding. Now, I'm not really an activist, and I'm not an anarchist either. I'm just somebody who has a great sense of increasing value for human life. In fact, all life, all our relations, as we say, mitikuyo yasin in our indigenous way. And that's also because I'm respecting myself more. And as you respect yourself more and find an increasing sense of worthiness in taking action in a respectful way to care for all our sisters and brothers, I know that in some deep way we are moving out of a sense of separateness towards sacredness. There's a term that we've often used in anthropology called nahani. It's actually a word from a language in the northern part of Canada, and it's a term that suggests that anyone else besides our small little group are strangers. They're not living, they're not human, they're not worthy, therefore, because they aren't alive, even in the sense. This sense of separateness and exclusiveness needs to be totally blown apart and retransformed into a sense that we're all one cell in the great earth human body of one spirit, one mind, one heart, one drum, and that we need to have a global inclusiveness for all skin colors, eye colors, nose shapes. I'm trying to be a little funny here because it's kind of ridiculous how we kind of categorize people. All orientations, genders, and so on, irrespective, we're all inclusive of one specialized human species. And our truest and highest and greatest nature is the calling that we're trying to awaken here. The highest calling and part of our nature is perfect unconditional love, kindness, respect, empathy, openness, communication, vulnerability, truth seeking, and truth speaking. I'm encouraging you in your own way, within yourself, within this small little tribe or community that you're part of, to explore these consciously so that you can come to some sense of what are the action steps that you can take next to increase your knowledge of your own self, increase your awareness of what actually is going on the planet and all levels of complexity and all hidden layers that the secrets are now being made open and conscious. And what are the respectful, righteous action steps that you can take to be part of this emerging global wave of consciousness towards freedom, liberation, meaning, purpose, peace, respect, righteousness, and most of all, life in the living, and the experience of being alive to love and living and loving and creating friendships globally everywhere you go with everyone who is just simply your sister and your brother. Om Namah Shivaya, all peace, all joy, all blessings. Dr. Joseph, I'll see you again soon.